And I see Sarah is here. Where'd you go? There she is. And I'm going to guess you're here to help us out with that.
I am.
Okay. So this is a hearing on the Campbell County Department of Housing annual and 5-year plans. Sarah Collins is here to provide all the expertise, and we are going to listen. So I want to call that public hearing to order and encourage her from there to help us out and deliver a report.
Thank you. So 5-year plan, time for that. The only difference in our 5-year plan from prior plans is that we have announced that we may project-based vouchers in the future if we are so inclined to do that. It has to be in those plans in order for us to take that into consideration. So it's been added. That's the primary difference from prior plans in the past 5 years. The other information in the plans talks about progress that we've made from previous plans and goals. We have very similar goals now from the past. We are waiting to find out about some funding to find out which avenues we will pursue. Our plan has been available for the public since February 13th to take a look at. We haven't had any public comments thus far. We didn't have any comments from our resident advisory board thus far, but if there are any questions that I can answer during the here today, that's what I'm here to do.
Okay. Anybody in the audience? Limited possibilities there. How about commissioners? What do you say? Anybody? Well, maybe aside from the plans that have been laid, is it still the case, and is the forecast looking the same way, that it's hard to find, people could have vouchers and have a lot of trouble finding a place?
Yes, our per unit cost in the past year went up 9.5%. We have 773 available vouchers. We typically are able to lease about 88% of those. Due to the funding concerns, the per unit cost increases, the wait list has been closed. We haven't brought many people off the wait list in the past year because the funding won't allow for us to house the 773 people. The market is very expensive. Our payment standards are set at 110% to try to accommodate for that. But because of there not being a whole lot of availability and because of the expense, there's not a lot of movement in the market. So if people do have a voucher and are looking to move, it is difficult for them to lease up. So, we could have a 50% lease up rate. We've had clients that have tried to use their portability transfer option to go to other jurisdictions, and recently the majority of those have come back to us because this is a national problem.
Right.
We do the best that we can with it, and the project-based vouchers is one way that we can help to try to alleviate that situation.
Okay. Well, that was going to be my next question, or I was going to observe that it is a national problem. This is nothing unique to us, and common knowledge among the professionals who oversee programs like this, but the rest of us need to be reminded that that's what's going on.
It's difficult for everyone, and our clients are no exception.
Okay. Well, anybody else with a question?
How many families are on the wait list?
I think that there were 250 left after the most recent purge. We lost about 50% of the people that were on our wait list. We hadn't pulled anyone off the wait list since last May. We issued 20 vouchers last month just to try to see if we could do some tracking to find out what our utilization rate would be for that. But we cease that until we find out what our funding is going to be for the remainder of the calendar year. And then we'll know better whether we can bring more people off of the wait list. But we typically lose about half of our wait list when we conduct a purge. And our wait list is structured by date and time of application and then local preferences that we have. So the people that are at the top of our wait list tend to be local families that either live or work in Campbell or Pendleton County, or are elderly or disabled or have a disabled household member. So those are the people at the top of our list that are waiting for our assistance once we're able to offer it.
That's a good question. Anybody else with one? Well, I never worry that our program I never worry about whether it is competently, aggressively, and properly looked after. And I want to thank you for that, even though times are tough. That's a general condition that everybody's struggling with and really has nothing to do with what you're doing so much as the facts on the ground and the market and so forth, which everybody else is struggling with too. So I really appreciate you taking time to give your report, and the news is out there in public about what's going on, and hopefully things will change. All right. That concludes our public hearing agenda, and we will get started then with the regularly scheduled meeting of the Campbell County Fiscal Court. Our tradition is to first observe a moment of silence and follow that with a pledge of allegiance at the beginning of such meetings. So if you'll join me now, please, in a moment of silence. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need a roll call. If somebody would help me with that.
Commissioner Besker?
Here.
Commissioner Lampy?
Here.
Commissioner Painter? Here. Judge Pender?
All four of us are present and accounted for, and ready to do the work of the people of Campbell County. First item of that work just might be the regular meeting minutes from March 19th. Have we had a chance to review those, and what do you think?
Yes, Judge, make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes from March 19th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the meeting minutes. Are there questions or comments, additions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. All right, we are at the guest heading, and I said hello to Andy Yeager on the way in, and he's on the front row and ready to go. He's the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet representative to speak to us today, and the floor is yours, Andy. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Judge, members of the board. Thanks for having me. With me today is actually Nick Rice. I'm sure many of you guys know him. He's the branch manager for PD&P 1, so he oversees all the construction and maintenance for Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. I'm here today to present the recommended plan for the rural secondary program. Like many of you know, I come every year and present the recommended projects. This year, Campbell County was allotted just over $857,000. That is a 7% increase from last year. From that, 30% is set aside for routine maintenance and traffic. And that comes out to be $260,000, so that includes all their day-to-day activities and snow and ice removal throughout the year. There is $215,000 in flex funds, which the county has the option to utilize. And then there's a small administrative expense of $3,800. And we actually had a balance last year of just over $90,000, so that leaves us with about $470,000 for projects in Campbell County this year. And with that funding, I recommend to resurface a portion of Concrete Road, that's Kentucky 1936, from Visalia Road to Kentucky 536. That's just under 1 mile, and at an estimated cost of $90,000. The next section is Persimmon Grove, Kentucky 1121, and that is from California Crossroads up to Kentucky 1996. That is just over 3.5 miles, and at an estimated cost of $332,000. With that, we have a balance just under $50,000, and so I recommend doing Stevens Branch, Kentucky 1996. That's that short section from Kentucky 1121 Persimmon Grove over to Kentucky 10. That's also just under 1 mile, and at an estimated cost of $80,000. And that puts us a little into the red, depending on how the bid prices come in. And so depending on whether the county elects to use the flex funds, we can take the remaining funding of $180,000 and pave another portion of Kentucky 1936 Kenton Station Road from US 27 to Leeds Road. And that's just over 1.7 miles and a cost of $153,000. So I believe you guys all had a copy of this, and so hopefully you had a chance to review it before I present it today. So I'll be happy to answer any questions on this program or any questions in general for the Highway Department in Campbell County.
Okay. What do you say, gentlemen? Anybody with a question? Andy, I think, as you know, we like to hand over the information that you provide us and have provided us already to Luke Mantle and his people and have them think things over a little bit. That's what we'll be doing here. And it'll take us a little time to get a reply back about how they'd like to proceed. And generally, they being our experts, that's what we do. So really appreciate you both being here. Any general questions about transport? All right.
Yep.